Very good afternoon to both of you. Thanks for joining us. I want to just start on the National Energy Guarantee because we're this week and the coming days going to see the states line up ahead of Friday's meeting with Josh Frydenberg, where they'll either approve or kill off the National Energy Guarantee. The Queensland Premier, Anastasia Palaszczuk, just in the last half hour has made some comments on this. And again, similar to Victoria, she is saying she wants to have some guarantee that the federal coalition will be on board. Here she was.
You know, at the moment, we've got Josh Frydenberg out there trying to put state against state, territory against territory. Well, frankly, that's not on. What we need to see is very clear certainty from Malcolm Turnbull's party room when it comes to the National Energy Guarantee.
So that's a no at this stage?
I didn't say that. I said we support a national framework. But we want to see the legislation and we want to see it through Malcolm Turnbull's party room first.
So you won't commit to it? Is that a better way to put it?
There will be discussions on Friday, but how can you commit to something when you're given a blank piece of paper?
Well, Grahame, it's a reasonable point, but Josh Frydenberg says they will still have a chance to give a final commitment after the Coalition Party Room on Tuesday. Friday's meeting, sure. Then you've got the Coalition Party Room on Tuesday next week. And then there'll be a phone hookup with the states after that. So they're kind of getting what they're asking for.
Well, yeah, but thank goodness you've got a bloke like Josh Frydenberg who's in charge of this, so it could be a complete and absolutely waste of space. He's got it this close, and it seems to me it's not unreasonable. But the states know damn well that Josh is going to get this through the party room. Will there be some whingers? Of course there will be. A few libs and a few nats. Yeah. Beauty.
But you think
it's the same on any issue. But
there'll be some noise, but it'll get through the coalition.
It'll get through the coalition party room. That is the point. There is, yeah, and there's very good reason, is that the coalition itself has been watching and bleeding and everything else for the last 10 years on this issue, and finally there's a plan that looks as if it will work, and every blinking coalition member will be able to go out there and say, we have a plan and we've done something which can reduce your power prices. And mums and dads will say, thank God.
Is this more, Bruce, about those Labor states wanting to exploit the tensions, the differences in the coalition party room between the likes of Tony Abbott and Barnaby Joyce and the government and so on? I mean, you know, does it really matter to them? Why wouldn't they just sign up if they think it's a good plan?
Oh, well, there are implications for them at a state level. And they have to deal with their own constituents about that. You know, the same people who support people like Tony Abbott in Canberra support people who are his equivalents at a state level in Queensland and Victoria. So I don't think that's unreasonable. And I think we shouldn't be so quick to assume that it will go through the party room. When they had the last effort by Kevin Rudd to try to get an emissions trading scheme up, it ended in Malcolm Turnbull being sacked as opposition leader and Abbott taking over, and that was a disaster. So let's not pretend that this isn't an extremely vexed issue within the coalition. The National Party, for reasons best known to themselves, don't seem to like it, and there's a rump around Tony Abbott who have exactly the same view. So I'm reasonably sympathetic to Palaszczuk about this. I think they should wait and see what the party room says and then come out. I think they should support a neg, but I don't think that they should have to do it until we find out whether, in fact, there is going to be one put to successfully by Frydenberg in the party room in Canberra.
Just a further development on this, you know, they need all of the states and territories in the national energy market, so that's not WA, to at least not vote against this on Friday, right? That's what happens. They, in Josh Frydenberg's view, will hopefully sign up, but if they abstain, then that's not a deal maker. The ACT, smallest jurisdiction as we know, we've just got a press release in from the ACT Chief Minister and Shane Rattenbury, who's the Minister for Climate Change. He's a Green, but the government's a Labor government. He serves in the Labor government. Look, this statement says the ACT Cabinet's today decided they will only support a national energy policy that will genuinely help the national energy market. The current neg proposal does not do that. In fact, it may have a negative impact in the areas it claims it will improve. Basically has three concerns at the moment. One, the 26% target. It says that's inadequate. will not meet our climate change targets and so on. Secondly, additionality. The ACT government must be able to have more ambitious renewable electricity and emissions targets. Well, I think they still can. And then thirdly, conflict with ACT scheme. The current NEG proposal interferes with the ACT's 100% renewable electricity mechanism, and these issues have not yet been resolved. So that's how the ACT's renewable energy scheme interacts with the NEG. So anyway, they clearly still have a few key concerns about all of this. But Grahame, as I say, ultimately comes down to whether they're willing to vote against the NEG rather than just abstain from it.
Look, if you were a sensible Premier, you'd be saying on Friday, look, I understand this, it's not a bad scheme, it's better than anything else we've seen. Now, Minister, meaning Josh Frydenberg, in principle, we're with you. We've got a few things about the target, but in principle, we're with you. Come back to us after the party room and tell us that it got through. Don't expect us to vote before the party room. And I think Josh will get it through, and then we'll have a scheme where we can get on with it. Everyone, business community, farmers, everyone in the world wants it, except, what's that rodent in Canberra's name?
Tony Abbott. Tony Abbott.
No, Rattenbury. A green fellow in Canberra trying to put a spike in there. It's just stupid that the ACT would have some sort of power of veto over the future of energy in this country.
All right, a couple of other things. Let's move on. There'll be plenty more on this during the course of the week, you can be sure. Bruce, while we're arguing here about a national energy guarantee that will hopefully save us a few bucks on the energy bill, farmers in drought-affected New South Wales and Queensland are absolutely crying out because they are facing much, much bigger problems right now with the drought. We saw the latest offering from the Prime Minister yesterday. What do you think? Is this adequate? Is this dealing with some of the big structural challenges that those drought-affected farmers are facing?
Well, it's $12,000, I think, was the number that I heard. And I did hear more than one farmer saying that, or grazier saying that just wasn't going to get them there. And that sounds pretty right to me. I mean, we have a huge problem here. And obviously, climate is changing. We're seeing that around the world, and it's going to affect more and more farming communities and grazing communities as the years go on. So I think there are very, very significant problems that have to be dealt with here. But of course, the government has to come up with a number that works. And I suspect that right now that's not enough. But I do think it really ties back in a funny sort of a way to the issue we were just debating before. What we're seeing in the Northern Hemisphere this year, massive temperatures across the continent. Things which were 1 in 10-year events are now 1 in 2-year events. And sadly, we're going to see more of this as time goes on until such time as we really start to come to grips with climate change.
Yeah, and look, it is so difficult, Grahame, because, nothing we do now is going to make it rain, and that's what they really need. But when we look at the support being given to farmers, the difficulty they face is destocking, selling off their stock, makes it very hard to recover when the rain does eventually come.
Well, that's right. But there's lots of drought schemes out there, and the farmers can draw on those. The difference with this one is actually getting bread and stuff on the table, getting food on the table at $12,000. Now, most farmers have real pride and whatnot and won't accept it, but some of them genuinely need it. We know the suicide problem in the bush. Now, the good thing about today, it's a little like back in the day, Bob Hawke got elected, went out in the bush and it rained after a terrible drought. We've had Malcolm Turnbull go out in the bush last week, and we do have some rain today in the bush. And,
hallelujah.
You would hope over the next month we get a lot more. But this sort of stuff gives some people a little bit of hope that they can feed the family, they can pay a few basic little bills, and that's damn important.
Yeah, look, every little bit.
All of my mates in the bush, and that's not fair, my mates in the bush in the middle of this drought are really quite frightened about some of their neighbours.
Look, just before we go to the break, I did mention a bit about this last hour, the bad decision to have the neo-Nazi Blair Cottrell on one of the Sky News programs last night. Our news director has admitted it was the wrong thing to do. Let's hope it doesn't happen again, or it won't be happening again, we're told. There are some internal editorial changes going on, I can tell you as well. But Grahame, where do you some people say everyone should be entitled to a platform to express their views wherever they sit on the spectrum, but there is a line, isn't there?
There's a line, and this bloke is the dregs of Australian society. When you actually, the good part about him having been on Sky is that lots of people have Googled him and have found what he's really like. And he is an absolute shocker. I too am a great believer in people having a go and being able to express their view. But in his case, you would put him up to ridicule and laugh at him. The problem is tomorrow, Australia's population hits $25 million. That's 25 million people. And we should be having a genuine immigration debate. Unfortunately, this clown comes in, hijacks what should be a sensible debate, and he's no good.
Yeah, that's right. Bruce, I don't know if you want to comment on this as well. Look, it's understandably upset, not just the Jewish community, but plenty of others as well.
Yeah, look,
something like that. So.
Yeah, sometimes these things happen in the rush, as you know, to get people on, and I think Sky's done exactly the right thing. They've apologised and they're moving on from that, and I think we all should. That's the sensible thing to do. That's the honourable thing to do.
Indeed. Bruce, Grahame, thank you both very much. We'll catch up next week. Appreciate that.
Yeah, man.
Quick break. Back with the last word.